using the help command. Okay, now there are too many indicators showing you whether you have a mistake or you have printed the incorrect command. Okay, for example, this one shows you the place where you've done your mistake. Okay, so it's kind of telling you please change this one, make sure that this part of the command is correct. Okay, and by the way, it's not all the times accurate. Sometimes it points a place and the error is somewhere else. Okay, but within that command, so it's not 100% accurate. Okay, these are some of the shortcuts, like the tab. You type part of the command and the tab, you know, prints off that comment for you, the rest of the command. For example, instead of writing configure terminal, just you write conf and you hit the tab, and if the tab can find it in the history, the tab will show you the complete command. Okay, the backspace is for erasing the command, and the arrows, we use the arrows to print the comments in the history. Okay, so we've seen how we have a different memory places on the router. It's a hardware. Okay, we had the RAM where we used to save our running config. We had NVRAM where we have our backup configuration or startup config, and we have the flash for storing the iOS version. So we don't have a hard disk, we have a flash memory instead of the hard disk. Who can tell me why is that? What's the reason of having it? Why not the hard disk instead of the flash memory? No, NVRAM, look, NVRAM is dedicated for a purpose. Okay, that purpose is for storing the startup config. Okay, and by the way, NVRAM, it's not that big, okay, to store a iOS version. The speed and the cost and the reliability. Exactly. Okay, so the flash is a memory, okay, safer than the hard disk, because hard disk relies on many physical components. We have a cylinder, we have the motor that rotates and spins the platters. But with the flash memory, even I've seen some laptops, like the Sony, there is one of the laptops, it's very slim and very user-friendly. Uses a flash memory instead of the hard disk, where you can shake it without fearing any bad sectors caused by that shaking on your hard disk. And beside that, hard disk is slower than the flash memory. Okay, and the router got interfaces. Of course, we don't have a memory on the interface. Interface is connected to the internal commands. Each of the we have a different command for viewing and exploring the information from each of the memory on the router. Okay, for example, we've seen the last time the show version command. I will go ahead and create a very basic packet tracer activity. Okay, where we can use it to demonstrate some of the skills. I'm gonna create very simple, straightforward network consists of one PC and one router. Okay, so we're coming to this router. Okay, from 1841 series, and we'll choose one of the PCs, and we'll connect the PC to the router using a rollover to the console port of the router. Okay, we'll go to the router, we'll go to the PC, we'll go to the desktop tool, and we'll navigate to the hyper terminal. We'll choose 9600 settings. Okay, the flow control none. Okay, the stop bit 1, parity none, and the data bits 8. Okay, now since the router cannot find any startup config in the NVRAM because it's a new router, the router is going to ask us whether we prefer to go to the configuration dialog. Well, we don't prefer to do it, so we'll choose no. Those who they are looking for configuring the router in professional manner, they will not go using this mode. This mode simply will give you questions. For example, will tell you, would you like to have an IP address and enable your serial port? You'll answer yes. They will ask you, the router will ask you, what IP address do you wish to configure this port with? Okay, so we will not choose that option. Here is the user mode. We are going to go ahead and move to the exec mode, the privilege mode, by using the enable. It's not going to ask us for any password since we don't have any configuration. Okay, now I wish to see the version of the iOS I have on the flash, so I will issue the show version. Okay, and by the way, almost 85% to 90% of the show comments, they can be accessed from this mode. Okay, so this is the show comment, show version command. Okay, so over here it shows us the version. As we will study later, this number indicates something, indicates all the features we have them within the iOS version. Okay, so I can even issue the command show flash. Okay, here is the flash. It shows me the version of the iOS. I have it over there just like the show version, and it shows me the size occupied by the iOS and the free space. This is very important. Okay, if we want to upgrade our iOS, we don't erase the original iOS. Firstly, we provide the new iOS, and after that we erase the old iOS. This is why we need to see the capacity of the flash and the free space on the flash memory. Okay, so let's move on. The switch, it's similar, but obviously we have over here a different version number. Okay, now this is the packet tracer for the show comments. We are going to do the general one that combines all these skills. Okay, so let's see what do we have over here. Now there is very important mode called the interface mode. Interface mode can be accessed from the global configuration mode. Interface mode is dedicated for configuring the interface on the router. But before configuring the interfaces, we need to know what interfaces we have on the router. This could be done in two ways. The first way is by going to the router and looking at the backside and seeing what interfaces do we have on the router. For example, in my scenario over here, I'll go ahead and turn off my router and I will add one interfaces. If you see, it's a default router without any interfaces. We do have only the basic interfaces. Okay, so I'll go ahead and add one interface just like this. Okay, what else do I need? Do I need a wireless interface? Not for the time being. Okay, this is an old one interface. Okay, V35 version. Okay, this is the wireless. Fine, I'll go ahead and power on my router. Okay, so on this router I have two WAN interfaces. I'll come back to my PC. I'll choose no. Okay, now what is the other way to figure out what interfaces do I have on the router? Okay, It's by going and viewing the interfaces. We start with enable. Fine. Now over here I can issue the following command: enable okay, end or exit,